Yeah. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, how are you? How are you doing this evening? Hi, everyone say hi, hi. It feels nice. Yeah, nice, nice. Photographers, got your position? Yeah? This is my best angle, just so that you know. Okay, thank you very much for joining us. And we're here to celebrate a very, very special bond, as you know. But before you go on, I was introduced as Boman Irani. That's right, you got it right. For those who don't know this fact, I'm also an actor. And, a lot of my friends are jealous of me, from school especially. Not because I'm an actor, but because I get to work with the most beautiful women in the country. But keeping in with the theme of the evening, there's a little snag over here, nothing to be jealous about. All these beautiful women that I work with, I only play their dad, so. Well, on a more serious note, it's said that our experiences shape us as individuals, but it is our relationships that make way for some of the most defining moments of our lives. Each one of us has a mentor. Each one of us has a person that we look up to and turn to in good times and in bad, and who make the most difficult situations sound simple, or give us the strength to think and believe in ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, Johnnie Walker, Blue Label, and I warmly welcome you to an evening applauding an extremely special bond between father and son and daughter. We pay tribute to the men who hold a position of unmatched influence in our lives. We thank them for everything from the bottom of our heart, everything that they may have taught us, wittingly or otherwise, and acknowledge what they truly, truly mean to us, for shaping us into the men or women that we are, and for always being there whether we realize it or not. And more often than not, we do not realize how they're always standing over our shoulders. This special occasion is dedicated to every dad present here. So all the dads over here, you all can keep quiet, and everybody else, give them a big round of applause. The special occasion is dedicated to all of you, yes, and we encourage you to take a moment to celebrate the inspirational role that your father may have played in your life. Tonight we celebrate, and put your hands together again, for Date with Dad. I myself may not have had the opportunity or the experience of having a father, unfortunately, but one of the happiest days of my life was as a young man of 25. I became a dad myself, and my life and world changed from that day on. I know what it feels like to be a dad. Johnnie Walker Blue Label has always created memorable, bespoke, and extraordinary experiences for those looking to commemorate their milestones, and today is one of those experiences. To paraphrase, life doesn't come with a handbook. So that's what dads are for. With this philosophy at heart, Johnnie Walker Blue Label, Date with Dad, inaugurates its second chapter to honor the progressive spirit and the inimitable character of the most important man in our life, our dad. One more time. Everybody put your hands together. Johnnie Walker Blue Label provides an opportunity to its patrons to express their admiration and love for their fathers and to share a cherished memory. To further enrich tonight's experience, we have with us a man who is just as rare in character as he is in quality. He's a dear friend, a fellow actor, a family man. Please welcome the extremely talented and a thorough gentleman, I might add, John Abraham. Make me look better than him, please. You do. Okay, we'll have a lot more opportunity. Thank you very much. John, before I allow you to speak, Okay, settle down, guys. Settle down, guys. John, before I allow you to speak, I want to say something. Um, it might embarrass you a little bit. Don't worry. But a few years ago, my niece lost her father, and I, as her mama, decided. What happened, Baba? I have no idea what's going on. So my niece had lost her father, and I, like a good uncle, decided to throw her a surprise party. So I called her up and told her that, come over and have dinner with us. But the idea was to throw a surprise party for her friends, right? Which she didn't know of. And then I called her up and said, what would you want? Name it, and I'll arrange it for you. So, you won't be able to arrange it. I said, name it, just dream it and say it. She said, I want to meet John Abraham. I said, oh, God. So what I did was, I didn't lose heart. I called up John. John was shooting in Film City at that time. And I said, John, is it possible for you to come to my house tonight for just 15 minutes? So he said, no, I'm so sorry, Boman, I'm shooting in Film City. I said, so what for? So I told him what the occasion was. And he said, no, I'm really, really sorry. And he really couldn't make it. And then I told her, unfortunately, the girl has lost her father recently. And it's my way of making her feel special. Put her on the phone. The evening went on. Suddenly I got a call from John. And I said, hey, John, that's all right, don't worry. He said, no, I'm below your building. And I said, why aren't you coming up? He said, it's a surprise birthday party, so I didn't want to enter and, ruin the timing and things like that. John came up, and there were some 30 girls, and that's exactly why he may have come, but I'm not saying anything. There were some 30 very pretty-looking young ladies, but my niece will never forget that moment, and John has this wonderful knack of making people feel special. John? Yeah.
Thank you.
Not that I did not respect you or I admired you, but that day, you stole our hearts, all of us. Not just my niece, but my entire family. In fact, my maid, she came out with a drink for John, and she went, and she dropped the whole glass in his lap. Do you remember that? We never let her forget it, Pezzi. We never let her forget it. Anyway, John, I said my bit. I had to say it. Over to you. Say a few words, and we'll sit down and we'll have a chat.
Well, thank you, Boman, for hosting this, first of all, because I'm such a big fan of yours, and I think you're a lovely human being. And are you smiling?
Yeah, I'm smiling.
And I think, like you said, we both have dimples. And
We're both half Irani.
we're both half Irani. And I'm really honored to be here, and I'm very excited to be part of the Johnnie Walker Blue Label Date with Dad. The brand's idea of giving an opportunity to thank their dad is so relatable and so special. And I believe it's a great opportunity for every son and every daughter to express his love and his gratitude towards his or her father. And I share this very special relationship with my father, and he's been a constant source of inspiration, and he's been a constant source of support throughout my life. And thank you, Johnnie Walker, and thank you all the people working there. Thank you so much, Bhavesh, and all of you in the team who've been so patient with both Dad and me in the office and in all these hours. And thank you, Boman, for really making this even more special by being here, and the audience and the media for being here, because this is a great occasion for a lot of people out there to actually go out there and make their parents inclusive of what they do in life. And this is something we often forget to do in our rat race when we're running from one place to the other. It's important to just go in there and, speak to your dad, speak to your mom, and just make them a part of your life.
Thank you, John. John, I think we should sit down. We got a little tete-a-tete to do. John, I've known your dad for many years. I truly admire him. He's always smiling. He's always smiling. And an outstanding man. I mean, Mama, please don't mind, we'll be talking about him a lot tonight. So, but the truth of the matter is, what is it about him that you admire the most?
Well, my dad is extremely honest and he's simple and he's extremely humorous. For example, he says, John, you're a hero on screen, but I'm a hero off screen to have tolerated my wife for so many years. So, I mean, he jokes about it, but I think he encompasses far more than what a father's meant to do. And he's a super guy and he gets his point across very simply. I mean, he doesn't really have to stress on it. He doesn't have to scream. He's never screamed at me. So he gets his point across, and I think I understand that life has to be very simple and not complicated, and I try not complicating my life.
You know, I met your dad and your mom. It was my second IFA. It was in Amsterdam, and from Amsterdam, my wife and I flew to Paris. And I met your dad and your mom on the streets of Paris, and they said that you were out shooting. But from what I gathered, they were so excited and so very proud. They may have been abroad before, many times, but this particular trip of theirs was very special because they said that John designed this entire trip for us and made it so special. It was like a gift from you to them. Of course, it's never enough, you know, but it was so well planned, and they were so grateful and so proud to say that John has sent us on this trip. And it almost felt like a second honeymoon, I have to say. I'm so sorry. but they were so happy. I can't tell you, you weren't there to experience that. But there was so much joy, and you played the good son. Now, I'd like to add that you did an MBA, right? A very conventional education. Academia is what you started with, and you must have been pretty good at studies in school. But then when you finished your MBA, you suddenly decided to be a model. What did Dad have to think about that?
You know, surprisingly, I'd expect my friends to have encouraged me, and my father and mother to ask me and say, are you sure you really want to do this? Because modeling, it's not a legitimate career. But not once did they question my career choice.
But didn't they say that, you know, why did you do an MBA before, and just...
My father actually, you know, growing up, they said, son, study, because there is nothing more important in life than to study, because education makes you stand in front of a crowd, and you can speak to people. It gives you the power to speak and the power to choose right from wrong. And I studied, and after I finished my MBA, the only thing my dad said was, you've studied, now you're on your own, now do what you have to. And I was a media planner with an ad agency, and then I got into this modeling competition, and I chose to model. But I think they were extremely proud because I enjoyed it. They won that I won that competition, and they were extremely happy, and then the rest is history, yeah.
But tell me one thing, John. You said you started as a model, and then you went on to do films. Now, in that whole process, was there anything that your father said that actually defined what you were thinking, planning to do? And when you said earlier, you know, he said you're on your own. Were you really on your own? Or those are just words?
Well, I think in a strange way I was on my own. I knew they were always there to back me, but I knew I was going out there into this world of modeling and then films. And, you know, even in films where, Boman, you know best, and we know how it is, that you know, when you have someone in the industry, it becomes a little easier to hang in there. But, you know, my father only gave me the sense of self-conviction. He said, believe in yourself, because there is nothing that can get you through. You know, there'll be people who'll always speak good about you. There'll be people who'll speak bad about you. But don't hold anybody in disrespect. Just understand where they come from. He always says this. He says, forgive them for they know not what they do. And, and you just continue with what you have to do. And that's, be convinced about what you're doing.
John, we're talking about Father's Day and this concept of Johnnie Walker Blue Label, Date with Dad. What does it mean to you?
I just want to give you an incident which is very interesting, and I think all you people out here must hear that. My mom and dad take care of old people at the Cheshire Home for the Aged. And a long time ago, when I'd gone there, which probably mom also doesn't remember, a guy my age walked in, you know, America return guy, smart guy, walked in with his father, and he said, Dad, you stay here and I'll come and pick you up tomorrow. He never came back. His father passed away. He didn't come back for his father's cremation. And he never came back. The only time it seems he came back, and that's what the sisters told us, who were looking after the home, is when they had to divide the property. So the point I'm trying to make is, you know, it's so important that you make your family inclusive of whatever you do. You spend time with your parents, even if you argue with them. The important thing is just spending some time with them, and that's exactly what I've been doing. And these moments are very precious for me with my dad. I walk into his cabin. He's an architect. And I say, so what are you doing? What job are you on right now? And then he'll tell me what job he's on right now. And he'll ask me what's happening with my shoot. And we talk about it. And we talk about the films that I do. And trust me, he's watching us right now. He's very entertained about the fact that you're sitting here, not me.
I have to tell you, you know, he's such a wonderfully frank person. He said, you know, we talk about, not about you, but we talk about your wife at home more than you.
Yeah.
Whatever that means, Mr. Abraham.
Yeah, so he's a chilled out guy. He's a nice guy.
Yeah. If you had to surprise your dad, we're talking about Johnnie Walker, Blue Label, Date with Dad. But if you have to surprise your dad at one such date on Father's Day, what would you do about it?
My dad loves his whiskey, and you know, Johnnie Walker's the apt brand that has actually given us the opportunity to really support this cause of Date with Dad. But the one thing I'd like to do whilst my dad's having his drink is actually, you know, we watch football games together, and he's better than any football app that I have. So when the World Cup was going on in Brazil, he would actually call me and tell me what the score is if I was shooting in the night, because I had night shoots, and the games were at 9:30, 12:30, and 3:30 in Brazil. So he'd say, Chile is 1 up, and this team is 1 down, and you know. So we've shared some great moments. But the one thing that I'd like to do, Boman, is I'd like to take my dad for a live game somewhere in Europe. He's of course seen my team Northeast United play, and he's enjoyed these matches thoroughly. But I'd like to take him for one of the international games, so that he can enjoy that moment. They just were outside the Bernabeu Stadium. That's where Real Madrid plays. And they clicked a photograph and sent me. So I was just hoping that he could go and catch a game in there.
You know, I can't tell you what you're saying moves me so much, because I had gone to Madrid with my son. It was my birthday time, so my wife sent my son just to give me company. I was doing some talk for corporate. And the next day we were walking around the streets, and one of the executives came and said, do you all enjoy football? I said, yeah, why do you ask? He says, we've got box seats at the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium, and Real Madrid is playing. Before we knew it, we were in a box watching this wonderful thing, and my son and I, it is a real dad-son moment, we were staring each other's face while the game was going on, because we couldn't believe that was actually happening.
Wow.
And you know, it was such a wonderful moment, I have to tell you. I believe those tickets are exorbitant, unaffordable.
Yeah, I went to a club in London recently, Arsenal, and a ticket for 2 on a prized game when they play big teams like Manchester United, and a ticket for two with dinner is 20,000 pounds.
20,000 pounds?
20,000 pounds. That's
Wow.
that's 2
I gotta
lakh
thank
rupees.
those people very much.
You know, so it's a lot of money for just two people to watch a game. Then people like me would wish that the game goes on forever because 20,000 pound abhi kharcha kiya hai. Abhi khelo aur khelo, you know. So it's I can understand how you must have felt.
It was awesome.
Really special.
It is very, very special. Well, tell me, what is the best piece of advice your father has ever shared with you?
I think my father's always emphasized on the quality of character, and he says that you must always do good even when no one is watching.
I'm going to stop you right
Yeah.
there. John, you don't know about this, but I know this for a fact. I had visited someone in the hospital once, maybe the same person, who probably didn't know either of us, but he told me that you had been there. And very quietly, without anyone knowing, and John, nobody knows about this, is exactly what you just said. Your father said that you should do good when nobody is watching. And I know this for a fact, John. John went down to the cashier, the receptionist, and paid the entire bill of that patient. And I think that's completely awesome. There was no press around. There was no need to even tweet about it or nothing. But that's what John Abraham is about. And Mr. Abraham, you should be very proud that he's following your word to the T, and you should be extremely proud.
Thank you.
It really epitomizes what you just said. Do good for people, but don't have to show it off.
Yeah.
I'm showing it off for you, so it's okay, right? Charles? Okay.
Charles.
Okay. Your fondest father-son memory?
I think it's playing football in the house.
Football in the house?
Yeah, we used to play football with this small red ball in the house and kick the ball around. And the only way we'd stop is when my mother was a referee. With a broom, she used to hit me. And that's the only way to stop the game.
What is he saying, Auntie? What is he saying?
So
Would she hit you or, the other person playing also?
no. My dad.
No?
No, I don't know whether she hit my dad in private, but I definitely
But
know.
trust me, I've been married 30 years. I've had experiences myself, so.
Yeah.
But you enjoyed playing football at home.
I enjoyed playing football, and we used to watch the World Cup football every 4 years, and we used to watch the French Open, Wimbledon, US Open, and the Australian Open every year, like religion. Till today, he follows it, and he tells me whether Djokovic is playing and who's ahead in sets. Even when I'm not speaking to him, he'll call me up and he'll tell me this is what happened at the French Open. And so it's amazing how he follows sport. And he literally follows it more closely than I do because I'm shooting. So it's amazing.
Tell me one thing, what kind of a kid were you?
Very mischievous.
And you've ever gotten scolded,
Oh, yeah.
beaten up by who, mom or dad?
By mom. My father never screamed at me, but my mother did. And because my teacher said John means 24 gray hair in a day. So it was like I was this really mischievous student, and my brother was very studious. So I had to be a good boy so I don't lose plus points for my brother. So I had to really calm myself down. So in a class of 35, I used to stand 7th, 8th. So I was okay. But I used to be the athletics champion, 100 meters, 200 meters, relay,
No,
football.
we don't want to know of your accomplishments. We want to know whether you're a good boy or naughty boy.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Horrible is
But
really
your
naughty.
dad never was there any occasion where your dad scolded you?
I didn't have the guts to misbehave in front of my father.
And why is that?
I think he brought us up in a certain way because I'll tell you why. Once I said something nasty.
What do you mean by nasty?
I used an expletive when I was.
What does the expletive mean?
I used a bad word which is not really bad today.
No bad words are bad, let me tell you.
Yeah, okay. And he kept me outside the house for 3 hours.
For
Outside
using
the
a
door.
bad word?
Yeah. So I stood outside the door for 3 hours and I didn't enter.
I can't ask you to use the bad word because he's sitting right here. He'll put us out of the ballroom right
I'm
now.
sure he'll send us out.
I'll also have to follow you.
Yeah.
So
So I
since
never
then-
messed in front of dad, but mom was always, you could take those liberties with mom.
But she is the hyper one,
Very hyper,
and dad is the calm one.
very calm.
And still you were afraid of dad.
Still, I was afraid of dad. Because mothers are mothers, you know.
Mothers are mothers.
Yeah.
Tell me, John, we've heard about you, about your dad, and what he means to you. It's a very, very special bond from what I can see. And we also want to hear from the man responsible for this fine young gentleman that we have today in front of us, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I now introduce you to a very, very successful architect, also an architect of the man that he has constructed over here. A humble man, a doting father, and a role model for all of us. Put your hands together for Mr. Abram. I've got a small duty to perform. All the photographers are here, so come right here. All right, start up. We're coming, we're coming. Okay, now there. All right, and there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come, Daddy. Come. Sit, Daddy.
Please, sir. Mr. Abram, you've been listening to us.
Yes.
Only half of it was true, or most of it was true. Could you tell us something about John and your journey with your wonderful son?
He has always been a cool boy.
He's been a cool boy. Yeah, he is cool. You know, the way the girls say cool. I mean, but has he always been a good, obedient boy when he was a kid?
He's quite
But
obedient.
he says he's been mischievous.
He was mischievous. Boys have to be mischievous.
Otherwise, what's the point in having boys?
Otherwise, there's no boys. Boys have to be mischievous. But then, I'm very happy that the way he has shaped up, and he's quite responsible and focused. That's most important.
And all the values that you've instilled in him. Does he?
Well,
does
I
he-
don't know. See, as parents, we have to just live our lives. Children just observe us and grow up. Don't have to teach them anything. one has
No
to
preaching, basically.
no preaching, no teaching. See, in fact, I work among the handicapped children.
Right.
I know that one thing that they well deserve is we do theatre workshops among them.
All right.
They're very good at imitation. We do music training with them. They're very good at singing. We do dance. Shamak Dava helps me
Right.
in the dance classes for them. They're very good at it. All these natural instincts are there in children, basically because they are observant.
You're observant.
And
you
if you
observe.
live a clean life, they will simply follow you.
You know, it's been commonly said that children don't do what you tell them to do, they do what you do.
Exactly.
That's so true. John, very blunt question.
Yeah.
Please don't mind.
No, please.
Have you been a good son?
I've tried to be a good son. I'm not a great son. I wish I could really be a very, very good son. And
Why do you say that?
I mean, I wish I could do things better. I wish I was far more responsible. I wish I was far more conscientious.
But that's exactly the opposite of what he's saying. He's endorsed you as a conscientious, responsible, and a good boy. Why are you saying you're not?
I still need to go that extra mile, and
Which is?
which is just be very happy with myself or in my space, which I'm not.
You're not.
Yeah, like I keep trying to push the boundaries. I'm ambitious, and at the same time, in my need to get to another level, I forget that you could be happy in the present moment. And I see my dad, he's very calm. He's very zen. And I think I need to acquire that quality of being zen.
Well said, John. There's nothing wrong in being ambitious and trying to push yourself and all of that. But I'd like to ask you another question. What is it that you regret that you can't do for your dad?
I don't know. I mean, you'd have to ask him that. I think there's a lot of stuff.
I was coming to you, Mr. Abram. Yeah. What is it that you feel that John could do better?
Well, he's doing very well. I mean, there's nothing to...
What about time spent at home?
Time, as much as possible, because today's compulsions of work is such that nobody can give that much of time to everyone. But nevertheless, he gives time. Fortunate, I'm singularly fortunate that we all work together in the same building.
You work in the same building?
Same building.
Okay.
On the same floor. He has an office on one side. I have an office on the other side. So we walk into each other's office and, we have that kind of an interactive.
But what about time at home? Do you feel that,
At home, because he stays separately, my younger son stays separately, but we all meet
regularly?
Regularly.
You do find the time?
Yeah, try and find the time. So I always go for food in his cabin, because he's got some dry fruits here, there. So I just go keep eating something and I walk out. I need to eat 24/7.
Really?
Yeah.
I look like the one who eats 24/7. Never mind. But when he chose an unconventional career, Mr. Abram, when he did an MBA, I asked him this question. I want to double check with you. He chose an unconventional career, took up modeling. How did you react to that?
Listen, actually in life, we all plan something, but we end up somewhere else.
Sorry, I didn't see you here.
We all plan something for our own lives, but
right.
we end up somewhere else.
Right.
I came here after my BSc to work in a pharmaceutical company as a chemist, probably.
Okay.
By default, I landed up in architecture college and I became an architect. And I have known doctors who have qualified and got into computers and so you can never say what you become. The most important thing in life is to do whatever you do it passionately, you do it with absolute sincerity.
Yeah, that's all fine. But when he said, I want to be a model, how did you react to that immediately?
Well, it was just fluke. It was just a chance that, some model didn't come to his office. He was an advertising concern. And they said, "Sala, tu to chikna hai na, khade raho." Like that he became a model. His friends forced him into modeling. And after that, he never looked back.
You please don't come to any producer's office when I am not available and you'll say, "Arey, tu to bahut achhe dad," otherwise I'll lose out on role, Suddenly you can change careers.
So that's how. Life, it is like that, there's nothing to.
Mr. Abram, what does this day mean to you? This concept, Johnnie Walker Blue Label coming up with this wonderful concept. It's an emotional concept of date with dad. What does it mean to you?
It's a fantastic concept because, today's world, one of the most important things that children should learn, youngsters, I would say young adults who are working and who are trying to build up their own career, is that they ought to remember that they have to give some time to their parents. And there's nothing like being together. That's how it has to be. That's all.
I think that's so true. John was talking with me outside and he said, I would ideally like to spend a lot more time at home with you. But I know of a lot of youngsters who don't spend time with their parents when they're doing nothing at all. John is out there making a career for himself, doing so fantastically well, as a model, as an actor, as a producer, and now he's, with his football league and, a busy man and still finds time. I think that's completely fantastic. And it just goes to prove, all that you may have taught him and all that you want him to be, he has proved you right and he makes you proud, as he makes all of us proud. So big hand for Mr. John Abram and Mr. Abram. Superb. Superb. Special day. John Abraham has to say. It's very, very confusing. I'm so sorry. So what's your full name?
But they're confusing because Abraham, John Abraham and Johnnie Walker.
There you go.
It's an absolute combination.
Johnnie Walker, Blue Label, take it on your marketing team, man. From architect to marketing genius. We'll say it again. John Abraham, Abraham John, and Johnnie Walker. Yeah, give them a big hand. Okay, it's time to call upon someone from Johnnie Walker Blue Label. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the head of Luxury United Spirits Limited, a Diageo Group company, Mr. Bhavesh Somaya. Do let us know what the Johnnie Walker Blue Label Date with Dad campaign, what does it signify?
Well, to start with, I can only say, as a father, I hope that my daughter can give me such a wonderful, memorable experience at some point in time. I think Johnnie Walker Blue Label Date with Dad, we pride ourselves in creating memorable, extraordinary, rare experiences. And I think this campaign, which is really in its second year, stands for exactly this concept, right? It's about offering our patrons a chance to spend some quality time with their fathers. And I think I can connect with this at a really personal level because I know the role that my father has played in shaping me and the individual that I am today. I think I couldn't have said it better than Mr. Abraham. The central concept of Date with Dad is really simple, Boman. It's about the rarest gift that you can give to your father, your time. And I think that's what we really believe in.
True. We truly believe that John and his father, Mr. Abraham, truly embody the inspiring spirit of Johnnie Walker Blue Label. They share a really special and rare bond,
Yeah.
Which again, I would like to mirror what you said, that I just wish and hope that my sons and I, we do have a very special relationship. What am I saying? That we have a really, really rare bond, and thank you very much for making it so special. So I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all of you, for being here, and also, before we go ahead, another duty to perform. I have to play you a short little film. All right, and it's about the winners of the Date with Dad contest and their thoughts about the Date with Dad concept. So let's have a look at the film, please. Let's hear it for them. We are now almost at the end of the very rare evening, my friends, when Bhavesh would like to say a few words before.
Well, Boman, you've been a brilliant host. Thank you so much for that. And John, Mr. Abraham, thank you so much. I think we should all feel really privileged because we've got a glimpse of this beautiful relationship that John and his dad share. And of course, thanks to the audience for being here and making this evening really special. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Bhavesh. Thank you, Mr. Abraham. Thank you, John. Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you have some questions to ask, so there will be a mic floating around. Please don't hesitate to call for it. Please put your hand up, and maybe for the next 5 to 10 minutes, we'll field a few questions, if that's okay with you. Anyone? Can we have the house lights a little brighter so we can see the faces?
Hello. जॉन, मेरा सवाल आपसे है कि कभी जिंदगी में ऐसा हाय जॉन, मेरा सवाल आपसे है कि कभी जिंदगी में ऐसा वक्त आया है जब आप अपने डैडी से कुछ बताते हुए या कोई ऐसा लम्हा यू गॉट इमोशनल?
When he got emotional?
Yes.
Is that the question?
Yes.
Any moment when he got emotional? John, you need a mic.
The time when he when he found success in Bollywood, his dreams comes true and you met your dad.
I think पहली बार जब भी मैं काफ़ी इमोशनल हुआ था वो there's an exam called Common Entrance Test CET जो हमें देना पड़ता है हमारे MBA के लिए. तो आपको यकीन नहीं होगा मैं और मेरे बेस्ट फ्रेंड दोनों ये एग्जाम देने गए एंड आई रैंक्ड इन द टॉप 50 इन CET. तो पहले मैं खुद इमोशनल हो गया देख के कि मैं एक्चुअली हूँ यहाँ पे. उसके बाद आई वेंट एंड टोल्ड माय डैड क्योंकि मुझे पता था कि ही विल बी वेरी प्राउड ऑफ मी अगर मैंने MBA करा उस टाइम पे एंड ही वाज वेरी हैप्पी एंड आई थिंक दैट वाज वन ऑफ द मोमेंट्स जब भी मैं काफ़ी इमोशनल हुआ था क्योंकि डैड और मॉम जैसे हमारे ही वाज वेरी हैप्पी एंड आई थिंक दैट वाज वन ऑफ द मोमेंट्स जब भी मैं काफ़ी इमोशनल हुआ था क्योंकि डैड और मॉम जैसे हमारे सारे पेरेंट्स हमेशा हमें बोलते हैं कि पढ़ाई करो एंड आई डिडंट टेक देम सो सीरियसली. लेकिन उस वक्त पे जब भी मुझे एडमिशन मिला आई थिंक दैट वाज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इमोशनल एक अचीवमेंट सा मुझे लगा कि आई हैव अचीव्ड समथिंग इन लाइफ. और वो मेरे लिए सबसे डिफाइनिंग मोमेंट था. फिल्म सक्सेस से ज़्यादा या मॉडलिंग से ज़्यादा आई थिंक द मोस्ट डिफाइनिंग टाइम ऑफ माई लाइफ वॉज जब ही मुझे एक कॉलेज में एडमिशन मिला MBA के लिए. दैट वॉज वेरी स्पेशल.
I can see your mom getting very emotional there.
Yeah, Boman.
So sweet. Next question, please.
Yeah, Boman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hemant. Yeah,
Hi, Hemant. How are you doing?
Yeah. John, Hemant Sangani over here. John, you have been champion of the marathon all these years, yani. And it's very heartening to see you and your dad coming up for such a cause, yani. Blue Label, again. It's a very renowned brand as such, but most important factor, you and your dad coming together for the Father's Day as such, yani, Dad's Day. Important factor, I want to ask Mr. Abraham and for you also, when you became a star, how did Mr. Abraham feel, yani, a star son in the family as such? And you as John, when you became a star, how difficult was it and how easy was it for you to accommodate everything in the family? Because it was like you just by accident, by fluke, you became this model as such and then you got into the industry. Yani.
Right. Do you want to answer that question? When I became an actor, how did you feel?
Like any other person. Bernard Shaw was asked when he went to China, how was the Great Wall? Like any other wall. I mean, my reaction would be, that whatever you do, you have to do sincerely and passionately. That's all that I keep on saying. That when he became a star, we were excited and very happy.
And
It's
no
not
star must have ever given you such a good answer in his own life. It's the best answer I've ever heard in a press conference.
But yeah, just to answer your question, I think the first thing both my parents told me and my dad told me was always keep your feet on the ground and remember where you came from. And I didn't realize that till in my 14 or 15-year journey. I have seen a lot of actors that have come and gone, probably, and gone, where you see a certain attitude that is developed, and I'm sure a lot of the media out here would validate what I'm saying, and you don't understand where that comes from. So my father always told me that just remember where you came from. And if you understand where you came from, there's nothing you can really lose in life. बहुत मुश्किल होगा ना? I mean, if I had 550 rupees, which I always say in the Bank of Maharashtra in Agripada, so how much can I lose? If I go back to zero, I'll lose 550 rupees. So it's just a thought of how you want to chart your life out. So my parents have instilled a lot of value systems, and one thing my father told me is that 1 rupee is still 100 paisa. So be very careful with how you spend your money.
So how many 100 paisas do you make per movie?
I also tell them all, this is for all young adults here. I also tell people that one most important thing is the nobility of a man is known by the way he treats his subordinates. To your superiors, you can be very, very nice, but the way you treat your subordinates, that shows your nobility.
Very important.
Very true, very true.
John, Jyoti from E24
Yeah,
सामने
speak up,
आपके।
my dear. We can't hear you.
जॉन, मेरा सवाल आपसे है कि जिस तरह आपके फादर आपके आइडियल हैं, तो आप किस तरह से आप अपने आप को किस तरह से फादर के रोल में देखेंगे जब आपको एक बेटा या बेटी होगी आगे चलकर?
जी, आज के तारीख में
He's practicing, don't worry.
Well, मैं अपने डैड को काफी फॉलो कर रहा हूँ in terms of just how he leads his life. और in fact on a very serious note मैं ये भी कहना चाहता हूँ कि you know काफी principled है अपनी dealings में. और मुझे तभी पता चला कि I am my father's son जब भी फुटबॉल मैचेस के लिए हम लोग गुवाहाटी गए थे और वहाँ पे काफी ऐसे गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स है, you know, who want favors, ये वो. And then I realized that we don't do favors for anybody. Everything has to be done honestly and straight. So I think at the end of the day, ये मेरे idol इसलिए है क्योंकि he leads a very simple life. वो बहुत ही ईमानदार है, बहुत ही honest है, and I really appreciate that about him. और शायद I think this is all that we all learn from our parents.
Well, John, she's asking actually basically the long and the short of it is when are you having a baby? You gave us a long answer. That's what she's actually, am I right? Huh?
We haven't planned yet.
He's practicing, but he's practicing.
I'm a sportsman.
One last question. He's a boy.
I'm a boy. I'm a boy.
Oh, you mean about the baby? Okay.
You think just because
It's
I
illegal to find out. You know that.
No, I feel they think if I produce Vicky donor, I can determine what sex my child is also. So it's a little difficult.
We won't count that as a question. We'll have to ask one more. Yes, hi. I'll give you a mic, my friend. Where do you want to go?
Sorry,
Yeah.
John, my question to you is, in an Indian culture, and why I'm asking you this is because I'll tell you that later. In an Indian culture, for a man, it's a very difficult thing to say, hug your father and say, Father, I love you. Papa, I love you. You know, I'm saying this because 5 months back, I lost my father. And I couldn't say that. And I urge everyone that if you want to say that, please say that. It's never too late. Say that on a Father's Day, say that any other day, but please say that. Have you ever hugged your father and said that I love you, Father?
Well, I've never really directly told him I love him, but I hug him a lot, and I hug Mom. But I think you're right. I must take a cue from you to be very fair and honest. I think I need to do that. So I'll do that now. So I tell my dad I love you, and I really do love him. And he's a wonderful man, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think it's important. This is important. So thank you.
Very important.
It's
It's
too
never
late.
too late.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, last question.
Yeah? We're done?
Just one more question.
Sorry?
Last question.
Who's that? Come on, don't worry. Give him a mic.
Hi, at our teens, all of us, we start getting into
a little louder,
alcohol,
please.
smokes, and so anytime you felt like you had a couple of puffs and then you enter to your house and
Sorry,
then, Okay. Do you smoke?
Me, I smoke in films,
Yeah, means like you smoke when you are at
but yeah, you can ask your.
yeah, you know, something like in your 9th and 10th standards, and then you enter to your house, and then you're sneaking sneaking away from your father. Some of that.
No, unfortunately, I mean, in that space, I've never been in that space, and I'm not trying to be a good boy, but I mean, that's never really happened with me. At the most, what's happened with me is I probably stayed out of the house with my friends through the night, and I've tried to sneak in early in the morning, and I've tried to make sure that I can open the door quietly, and that's as far as I've gone. And I really thank my stars that at least, you know, pardon me? I was lucky. I was always lucky.
Oh, with Mr. Abraham around, you can never be lucky in these matters. He's very sharp. He's up at 4 o'clock watching the football matches. What do you expect?
Yeah, it's difficult to
All
get
right,
past.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. You've been a wonderful audience. Thank you to the press. You've been wonderful. Mr. Abraham, John, Bhavesh, and that's me. Good night. Thank you very much.
अरे अदनान अरे ते देतात सांगते ते अरे ते रेडी येत आणि तुम्हाला जॉन पण अरे जॉन
जी संडे को ये प्लान है कि हम लोग साथ में फुटबॉल देखेंगे। मेरे पिताजी को फुटबॉल बहुत पसंद है और हम लोग हमेशा जितने सारे फुटबॉल मैचेस होते हैं कोशिश यही करते हैं कि वी ट्राई एंड वॉच ऑल दोस फुटबॉल गेम्स टुगेदर। तो अभी एक टूर्नामेंट चल रहा है साउथ अमेरिका में जिसका नाम है कोपा अमेरिका और वहाँ पे साउथ अमेरिकन टीम्स फुटबॉल खेल रहे हैं जैसे अर्जेंटीना, ब्राज़ील, चिली, इक्वाडोर, बोलिविया, कोलंबिया और बहुत सारे कंट्रीज। तो मैं डेफिनेटली उनके साथ एक फुटबॉल मैच देखूंगा ये संडे, उनके साथ लंच करूंगा एंड वी विल स्पेंड सम गुड फादर सन टाइम टुगेदर।
जॉन, आपकी कोई ऐसी मेमोरीज हैं जो बचपन में आपने अपने फादर से थोड़ी बहुत मार खाई हो, मतलब लाइक किसी ऐसे
फॉर्चुनेटली फॉर मी मेरे फादर कभी चिल्लाए नहीं, आवाज नहीं उठाया उन्होंने, हाथ नहीं उठाया। आई बीन वेरी लकी दैट वे, लेकिन he's been a very good father और मैं बहुत खुश हूँ और खुश नसीब भी हूँ कि I've got a great father and a great mother। जी मेरे फादर हमेशा खुश थे जब भी मुझे क्योंकि मैं रैंक होल्डर हूँ तो ही यूज्ड टू बी वेरी हैप्पी व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू स्टैंड समवेयर, लेकिन हमेशा भाई से थोड़ा पीछे था मैं, क्योंकि मेरे ब्रदर जो है, मेरे यंगर ब्रदर एक ऑलराउंडर थे, हमेशा फर्स्ट आते थे, सो आई वाज नॉट एज गुड एज हिम, लेकिन कोशिश यही थी कि अपने पेरेंट्स को प्राउड करूँ और डैड को प्राउड करूँ।
जॉन बहुत पहले आपने कहीं कहा था, मुझे अच्छे से याद है कि आपके कजन ने आपको बाइक दी थी, फिर बाद में आपने वो बाइक अपने पैसों से, अपनी मेहनत से।
एब्सोल्युटली।
और कुछ ऐसा भी रहा है कभी कि कुछ डैड को देना चाहते हो एज ए गिफ्ट, एज ए प्रेजेंट, लेकिन वो रहा हो, क्योंकि आप
बहुत अच्छा सवाल पूछा आपने, क्योंकि डैड को मैं सिर्फ टाइम देना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि डैड को मैंने गाड़ी दी, लेकिन अभी भी, और मैं ये आपको यकीन से कह सकता हूँ कि आज के तारीख में भी जब भी उनको कहीं जाना होता है, डैड या मॉम को, दे टेक द लोकल बस या ऑटो में जाते हैं, और मैं भी खुद वही करता हूँ। अगर मुझे अपने घर से ऑफिस जाना हो, गाड़ी नहीं है मेरे पास, आई टेक ऑटो रिक्शा नहीं गो। और ये जो मिडिल क्लास वैल्यूज है हमारे, हम इसको कभी नहीं छोड़ते हैं। इसीलिए जो मेरा रिलेशन होता है आम जनता के साथ या नॉर्मल ऑडियंस के साथ, वो हमेशा सबसे मजबूत रहा है, सबसे स्ट्रांग रहा है, बिकॉज आई एम अ मिडिल क्लास पर्सन इन माई हेड। और मैं जिस तरीके से जीता हूँ वो बहुत ही मिडिल क्लास हूँ, और मैं बहुत खुश हूँ, क्योंकि जो मिडिल क्लास के वैल्यूज होते हैं पैसे के बारे में, पैसे के मामले में, आई थिंक दे आर वेरी वेरी स्पेशल। और वही मेरे पिताजी ने मेरे माइंड के अंदर उन्होंने इंस्टिल किया है। या इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का बिल या राशन का बिल या कितना होता है, मतलब इसका वी टेक केयर ऑफ एवरीथिंग।
जॉन, मैं एक चीज और जानना चाहूंगी, फादर्स डे के साथ साथ इस साल पहली बार योगा डे भी मनाया जा रहा है 21 को, तो क्या कहना चाहेंगे अपनी ऑडियंस को?
Yeah, I think it's a great if there is a day like yoga day, I think it's fantastic, क्योंकि मैं हेल्थ में हमेशा मानता हूँ और मैं बहुत ही रेजिमेंटल हूँ, और मेरे एक्सरसाइजिंग रूटीन में काफ़ी सारे योगा टेक्निक्स मैं इस्तेमाल करता हूँ, जैसे चक्रासन, अष्टांगा, प्राणायाम, you know, these are all important breathing techniques and workout techniques flexibility के लिए. So it's a great day और लोगों को योगा करना चाहिए. I think it's a great form of exercise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.